This is Kelra, but instead of playing it safe, he ults into 3 people, before finally getting a double kill. What did Kelra see that made him ult onto Hayabusa? 15 seconds later, he's chased by 3 people, but instead of dashing back, he dashes forward 1 versus 3. What made him that confident? This is just one of the many things I learned from Kelra, starting with his hero pool, how to lane in a 2v1 situation, all the way to how he uses the minion cycle to farm safely. But we have to start with the draft and Kelra's hero pool. After studying him, Kelra is really good at playing every gold lane hero. But if you can't play them all yet, at least you should master one late game gold laner like Claude, Harith, and Moskov, one gold laner that's strong in lane like Granger, Freya, and Brody, and one magic gold laner like Nathan, Harith, and Lunox. Here's the full list. But how do you pick your hero? Look at your mid and your jungler. If your mid and jungler are strong in the early game, pick a gold laner that's strong in the late game. But if either your mid or jungler is weak in the early game, pick a gold laner that's strong in lane. Don't forget to match your team's damage type. If your team already has a magic jungler, pick a physical marksman and vice versa. Before we talk about how Kelra tore RRQ apart at Snapdragon Mobile Masters or the minion cycle that Kelra takes advantage of, we have to talk about how he lanes. Kelra understands every gold lane matchup, but you know what? Kelra's genius is already visible from his first shot. Against the LPH, Kelra played Bruno versus Moskov. Instead of buying dagger, knife, or boots, Kelra bought nothing. He comes to lane, takes a few minions, and buys Vampire Mallet that costs 400 gold. He baits Oheb into taking the crab, then focuses on attacking Oheb while Oheb is last hitting. Because he bought Vampire Mallet, he has enough sustain to win the damage trade, and Oheb gets zoned out of his own minions. What makes Kelra so OP is that he knows when he's winning or losing lane. If his hero is weaker in lane, Kelra plays as safe as possible. But the amazing part is, he can still farm even under pressure. And after watching closely, there are 3 important things Kelra does. He focuses on farming without randomly trying to solo kill the enemy. He uses the Quantum Charge emblem that gives heal and movement speed to dodge the enemy's skill shots, and he memorizes the enemy's skills cooldowns and knows when their skills are on cooldown. Before their skills are ready, he attacks the enemy as much as possible, and when the cooldown finishes, his thumb is already ready to dodge. But if he wins the laning matchup, he'll always press his opponent. As long as the enemy is in lane, Kelra won't clear minions at all. He'll always freeze and zone the enemy gold laner. One trick he often does is hiding in the bush. After the enemy last hits, he immediately goes all in, forcing the enemy to retreat so they're zoned out of their own minions. But if the enemy dies or recalls, he immediately pushes and takes as much plating as possible. The minions Kelra pushes will also die to the turret, making the enemy can't last hit your minions. This concept is called deny. Kelra also has very high map awareness. If the enemy mid, jungle, or roamer goes missing, he immediately retreats. That's all just theory, so let's see how Kelra plays in tournaments. In the Fnatic Onyx game against the LPH, Kelra used Karrie against Clint. Normally, Karrie loses the matchup against Clint, but there are many things you can do to win a matchup you're supposed to lose. First, Clint is a burst hero, which means when his skills are on cooldown, his DPS drops drastically. Meanwhile, Karrie is a DPS hero with a passive that needs 5 hits, meaning in a short damage trade, Kelra will lose. But if he can hit Clint continuously, Kelra can win. If we look again, there's an Edith here. Kelra knows that at level 1, Edith has no dash and her range is too short. So as long as he keeps his distance, he can handle this 2v1. That's why Kelra steps up and hits the enemy without backing off. Clint also already used his first and second skill, so Kelra steps up, and because Karrie's cooldown is faster than Clint's, Kelra can use his skills again, while Clint and Edith can't do anything. All of that comes from Kelra's ability to analyze the situation and make decisions. That's why don't be afraid to experiment and try heroes you don't usually play. In the mid game, there are 3 things Kelra always does. Use the minion cycle to farm as much as possible, stay close to the team because a fight can happen anytime, and always be in a safe position so he doesn't get picked off. But what's this minion cycle I talked about earlier? Your minions that spawn will meet the enemy minions in the middle. Even though their stats are exactly the same, the result of their fight isn't even. One side wins little by little until it gets pushed forward the enemy turret. This is the first stage. That wave then loses to the enemy's new wave because they are helped by the turret or cleared by the enemy. This is the second stage. Then the enemy's new wave gets pushed toward you. This is the third stage. This stage is what lets you farm safely. Kelra always monitors the wave state in every lane, and when the minions are in the third stage, Kelra is always ready to catch the bouncing wave. Let's see it in practice. Here, Kelra sees that the top wave is pushing. After the enemy carry comes and clears the minions, the wave is in the third stage. Kelra immediately goes to collect it and farm safely. When not farming, Kelra always stays close to the team, especially right before the Lord or Turtle. So he prefers to farm in the mid or the lane close to the objective. When a war starts, Kelra doesn't farm. He backs up his team from a safe distance and goes in when all the enemy skills are already used. Don't walk into the dark and don't split push carelessly. Kelra is a player who plays pretty passively in the mid game. He only dares to split push when the enemy's mid trio is visible in a far lane. All that knowledge brings us to this moment. Why was Kelra so bold that he ulted onto Hayabusa? And 15 seconds later, why did he dare to go 1v3? Let's break it down from the start. Here, Kelra plays Moskov who can teleport with his ult. He split pushes the far lane because when a fight starts, he can just ult to join the fight. RRQ immediately takes the Lord with Hayabusa's ult while taking advantage of the 4v5. Kelra, who just recalled, immediately ults onto Hayabusa who's retreating. Because even though Hayabusa's an assassin, Kelra knows Hayabusa's ult is on cooldown, and because his position is near a wall, Kelra can stun him. 15 seconds later, Onyx wants to retreat after destroying the mid turret, but instead of dashing back, Kelra dashes forward. There's an important detail here, which is Green Jersey energy that's running low, and Kelra, who still has Wind of Nature. That's what makes him brave enough to step up and finish off Toy. The lesson is we have to know what we have and what the enemy has at all times before we calculate and make a decision. This video took a long time to make, so become a channel member to get early access to future videos, and if you love this video, you'll definitely love this video too.